What I'm describing here reflects a key subset of GOP ghouls that only became major names once Trump took office, and they come from two separate generations. The first being the likes of DeSantis and Chris Christie and Ted Cruz, who got their start during Obama's presidency and had to shift course once 2016 hit. The second being the newer group seemingly birthed from Trump's popularity and success. They both have some crucial things in common, but it sure seems like the latter group is way more fascinating. Most of them came from a place of entitlement, ran completely on culture war and conspiracy theories, and appear to be riddled with absolutely unreal scandals. The flagship of this toxic bunch has to be Matt Gaetz, walking Dick Tracy villain, an absolute sex criminal. Matthew Louis Gaetz II, real full name, got his start as the son of local politician in Florida, Don Gaetz, before going to law school and passing the bar and then not paying bar fees, and then, in 2010, ran as state representative in Florida's 4th District. Matthew raised 5 times more than any of his rivals, much of which from donors who had given to his father, along with $100,000 of his own money, or rather, his father's own money. As this article points out, his salary at the time couldn't possibly account for that kind of cash. He was, scientifically speaking, a fancy little daddy's boy. And from 2010 to 2016, Matthew generally stayed off the radar, running unopposed for several elections and out of the news, with the exception of sporadic acts of casual evil. Some accomplishments achieved during this time was removing requirements for ethanol and gas, ethanol being the thing that makes gas burn cleaner and explode less. He also passionately opposed a bill cracking down on revenge porn. Weird, I wonder why that is. And also sponsored and passed a bill designed to speed up executions of death row inmates. Imagine going into politics and deciding that the big issue to tackle was making sure prisoners died faster. So of course he thrived under his new daddy Trump. Then of course there's Marjorie Taylor Greene, who, like her buddy Matthew Louis Gaetz II, got her start with a successful father. She inherited a family construction company called Taylor Commercial, where she was listed as CEO from 2007 to 2011. An investigation by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution found that during this time, Marjorie had little to no actual involvement in the company. Then she did, CrossFit for a while, and that probably would have been the end of it, had Donald Trump not run for president. According to her own words, Marjorie got interested in politics during the 2016 primaries, where she began to write about, very unreasonable conspiracy theories on a since-closed tabernacle of horseshit website called American Truth Seekers. There's a million articles about her online presence during this time, and the parade of unbelievable conspiracies she has subscribed to, including but not limited to her belief that Hillary Clinton engaged in satanic sacrifices, and of course the whole Jewish space laser stuff. She is, in short, one of a sea of QAnon cultists you saw infecting the internet during this time. The only exception being that, like Gaetz, she happened to have the financial resources to run for office. And boy, did she. While first entering the 6th District GOP race in Georgia, Marjorie actually jumped over to the 14th District where she could run unopposed. As part of her campaign, she actually had to move to that district. After that, she took a very big swing, diving headfirst into all of the mask-off QAnon toxicity and running as a full-throated pro-Trump candidate right when the iron was hot, getting a barrage of endorsements from the loser president himself. Ooh, let's watch.
Somebody that gets a little more publicity than I do, Marjorie Taylor Greene, right here from Northwest Georgia. Oh boy, I don't want to mess with her. No, she's great. Every one of them has my full and complete endorsement. Go out and vote for them and let them all come into Congress, right?
Winning words from a loser guy. But it wasn't just kind words that Trump gave her. Don't be gross! You see, this was all happening around the same time as the, COVID pandemic. All right. Remember all those PPP loans that went out from our government at the time of the pandemic? Well, it turns out that one such loan of between $150,000 and $350,000 went to a company called Taylor Commercial. The one that Marjorie Taylor Greene's family owned, that coincidentally, Marjorie's name was added back to the registration of in 2019. 2 months after this loan, she would donate $450,000 to her own campaign. As an aside, Taylor Commercial would manage to save an entire 12 jobs with their PPP loan, or rather, expected to save. No official word on that. So yeah, holy fucking shit. Marjorie, having been propped up by hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars and her own father's money, would continue to double down throughout her general election, going far beyond dog whistling and into dog screaming? Don't scream at dogs. They love you. By opting to, one could argue, threaten to shoot AOC and her squad. She rode that Trump worm across the dunes of racism and won by a fucking landslide, all thanks to 229,827 Georgians deciding that this deeply caustic individual would be allowed a national podium. It's actually quite amazing when you stand back from it. Hopefully, Trump was a very brief phenomenon that a lot of people rode the coattails of, the consequence of that possibly lasting longer than him. He's like the Twilight films in a lot of ways, with folks like Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz being the subsequent 50 Shades fanfiction turned box office smash amongst the sex-repressed. Or, more relevant to kids today, it's like the film Multiplicity, where Michael Keaton makes a copy of himself, and then that copy makes a copy and makes a copy, and so on. Why am I explaining the plot? You all know this. America is in love with the film Multiplicity. Hey, thanks for watching that clip. Here's the evergreen end plate to ask you to like and subscribe. It's any day of the year where you are.